People are yet to join.
This is perfectly fine. We can wait.
Yeah.
Which city are you logging in from, Dhwani?
I am from World of Steel, Jamshedpur.
Wonderful. You live in the township, the steel township, or outside?
In proper town.
Town. Lovely. It's a very well planned, very well organized.
Yes. So where are you from?
I am logging in from the maximum city, Mumbai.
Ah, yeah, right.
I like that candle behind you. It's a very nice candle.
Thank you. It's actually the virtual background which I've put.
Acha.
So when you Google it up, you get a lot of virtual backgrounds. So that's what I've done.
Nice. That's very nice. So we'll have people from all over the country joining this?
Yes, sir. All over the country.
Lovely.
As the Youth Hackathon is actually a national event, so people come from all around the country, basically.
Wonderful. It'll be a pleasure and privilege to interact with people from all over.
Yes, absolutely. We'll wait for another 2 minutes and then we can start, sir, so that, we are in a bit of time constraint.
I have a map in front of me, and I was just seeing where exactly is Jamshedpur away from the triangle of Kela, Ranchi, and Jamshedpur.
Yeah. So it's Jharkhand state. Inside Jharkhand, there's Jamshedpur, and Ranchi. We are like neighbors. Ranchi and Jamshedpur are like neighbors.
About 3 hours away.
2. Yes, sir. 2 hours.
2 hours.
Now the roads have become much better, so we can travel in 2 hours also.
Lovely.
Yes.
Is there a lot of noise in my background?
No, sir. It's completely quiet.
Perfect.
Noise. So I feel that let's begin with the session and people will, come as when they, so that, we can also finish everything on time. Is that fine by you or should we wait?
Sure. We can start.
Okay, sir. So A very warm welcome and good evening to everybody. My name is Dwani Adishra and I am your host for today. We have today in our HIGMID talk, How I Got My Idea. We have Mr. Dushyant Mishra. He is the founder of Unlearn.Cool. He helps young professionals and college students to discover their potential and help them in any way he can to enhance themselves and enhance their potential, and they can move forward, they can grow more. He is a graduate from Institute of Rural Management, Anand, and he is a graduate of National Institute of Technology. Once again, sir, a very, very warm welcome to you. And thank you so much for taking out the time and, coming to this HIGMID talk and encouraging all these school students. So, sir, we would love to know more that what is Unlearn.Cool? What is your company all about?
Okay. Dhwani, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here now. And so I love the name, How I Got My Idea. HIGMID, lovely. I have a request. So while I'm currently running Unlearn, I would want to talk about another startup that I ran for 2 years, a little before Unlearn. And it's called YAWO, YAWO. So may I share the story there?
Yes, sir. The stage is all yours.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's an absolute privilege to be here engaging with all the bright sparks. So when I was your age, when I was in school, when I was in class 8, 9, 10, and growing up, my idea of work was that my father disappears every morning. He goes to a hospital. He's a doctor, and he treats patients and he comes back, and that's what I knew about work. Now, if you would ask me that, what would my neighbor do? So they probably were an engineer with the telecom department, and they would go, and I don't know what they would do. The only thing I knew was that the telephones worked because of it, and so on. So everybody in the neighborhood that I knew who would sit on a scooter or a motorcycle, some auntie or uncle, somebody, they would go to work and come back. For me, work at home meant when my parents would tell me that clean this, clean that, bring this, bring that, stack this up. And that's how I used to think work at office would be. That people would go and they would have somebody above them, they would have somebody senior who would tell them to do things, and they would just do things, and that's how life would be. I completed my education, my engineering, my management course, and then I started working in an office. And that's the first time I encountered what work is. And I realized it was pretty much same the way I had imagined, that there was somebody at office who would tell me that, Dushyant, you're supposed to do this, Dushyant, you're supposed to do that, you're supposed to accomplish this. And I would do that. Life went on for a long time. Then somebody asked me one day that, why don't you start something of your own? And I was like, what? What do you even mean by starting something of your own? What do you even mean by having a business of your own or having a startup of your own? Because I had never imagined that I could run a business, I could create a business, I could manage a business in that sense. And then it got me curious that what does it take to start a business? What does one need to have a business of their own, to start something? Now, I spent next many years trying to understand what goes into starting a business, and it was not easy to find that out. So I want you to absorb this part of it, that it's not easy. It doesn't, you don't wake up one day and say that I want to do a business, or you can't just step out of the house and say that I want to start something of my own. It doesn't work like that. So cut to 2000, I would say 10, 11. And I'm a traveler. I drive a lot. I have 2 little daughters. And we go on really long drives, drives which are like across the entire Rajasthan desert, which is Thar, 2,000 kilometers, or drive to Himalayas from Bombay, like 4,500 kilometers, those kind of drives. Bombay to Uttarakhand, Badrinath, a faraway place, which is almost 4,000 kilometers to and fro. During these drives, my daughters would ask me a lot of questions. We would cross rivers, we would cross jungles, we would cross structures, lovely monuments. And they would look at everything and say, what is this? What is that? what crop is this? What building is that? Which river did we cross? Many times I would have answers. Sometimes I would not. And we had a GPS in the car. The GPS would tell us turn left, turn right, keep going straight, and so on. This was before Google Maps. So this was just a GPS. It would just tell us the way. One day it occurred to me that why can't this GPS, which tells me how to go to Rishikesh or how to go to Delhi from Bombay, why can't it tell me that what river am I crossing? Why can't it tell me that to my left right now when I'm going this way, because it knows I'm going this way, that this fort is there or this building is there. This pretty building before Baroda is actually, this particular school, and so on. This thought stayed with me for a long time. Then I met someone who was a technology person, a friend, and I shared this idea with them. And I said, can this be done? And he said, let me check this. He took about 15 days and got back to me one evening and called me up and said that, hey, Vishant, you were talking about that thing. I checked, it can be done on Google Maps. You can actually put stories on Google Maps like pins, and people will be able to listen to them. And I was like, wow, can it be? And he said, yes. Then we said, okay, let's do a product. So I joined hands with a friend who was into technology. He understands how technology works. So I don't, but he does. So two of us came together. We quit our jobs and we said, we'll do this. And we started making a product, an application. And we named it Yavo. And Yavo means travel in an African language. So we said, we'll call it Yavo. And this application would run on Google Maps. You could open the application. It would open the Google Map interface in front of you. And there'll be stories on the map. You could touch any of the story and it'll read out a story for you. It'll be an audio story. You could record your own story. So for example, I was talking to Dhwani when we started, and she said she's from Jamshedpur. So, and I know that you get some amazing golgappas and pani puris in Jamshedpur. And look at Dhwani. She's smiling. I know that. So if I was to come to Jamshedpur and ask Dhwani that, where should I go and eat? So she could just mark a story on Google Maps and I could follow her and navigate to that story and enjoy the best pani patashas, best golgappas in Jamshedpur. She could also tell me that, you could go to this particular place and you'll see the lovely lake that is there. Jamshedpur has a very nice place. And she could also tell me that, if you step out a little of the city and there is a nice jungle where you can see the sunset from a hillock. So she could tell me all these things and I could navigate to those places. So this was the idea of Yavo. The idea of Yavo was, imagine sitting in a train from Jamshedpur and going to Delhi. You could be sitting at night and you could just be hearing the sound of train. But when you would switch on the application, it would start telling you that you're crossing this river. Now you're passing by this town. Now this particular town is known for this kind of food. If you want to buy this, get out at the station and buy it from this shop. Imagine an application telling you at Ratlam that Ratlam ki sev bahut famous hai. Yahan utar ke sev lijiye. Yeah, telling you stories about Ranchi, that there's a Kanke lake here and it's such and such place. It's not just known for MS Dhoni, it's also known for Mekong, it's also known for so many other things, and so on. And when you cross Gangaji, you would know, of course, it's a very wide river, but there are so many smaller rivers that come, and this would tell you stories about those lovely rivers. This was the idea. We then started going out to a lot of people and requesting them and trying to influence them to start using the application. We could do that to a large number, but it did not really work out. And after about 2 years of working with this product, we shut it down. But why I shared this story is, now I'll take you through a simple framework. So every business that we start, every startup that we start, anybody who starts with something called imagination. It's an imagination problem first. 500 years ago, somebody imagined that let's fly. It was an imagination problem for a very long time because people wanted to fly. Somebody imagined that can we go faster than horses? Somebody imagined that, can we have something which can keep us cool in summers? Sorry. No. So these were imagination problems. Then it becomes a science problem where somebody uses a scientific structure to solve it. So Bernoulli in that case solved the problem of that, yes, this is how you can fly if something like this can be done. Somebody else solved the problem of, yes, this is how an air conditioner can work. Gave the laws of thermodynamics. Then after it's a scientific, you have a scientific solution to it. The next step that comes is where you say it's an engineering problem. That can you make an aircraft based on the scientific principles? Can you make an air conditioner based on the scientific principles? So that's what Wright brothers did. They made the first aircraft. It just flew for a few hundred meters, but it did fly. Somebody made an air conditioner also like that. It was massive, it was bulky, it was bigger than a room. But yes, they did make an air conditioner. Then it becomes a business problem. That can I make an aircraft which can take people from one city to another? Can I make an air conditioner which people can put in their homes and start cooling their rooms? Can I make a refrigerator like that? So these 4 steps I'll repeat: imagination, science, engineering, and finally it's a business problem. That can I make it in large numbers? This is exactly what we did when we did Yahoo. So first we imagined that can this map tell us stories? Then somebody helped us find out that yes, there's a scientific way of doing it. Google Maps and other applications allow you for this. Technology allows you for this. You can do it. Then we actually created a product, which was an engineering feat, a software engineering feat. So there was a team which sat down and created that product. And finally, it was about business, which meant that can we have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people download that application and start recording stories and start listening to them. So this was my journey at Yahoo. And I wanted to share this framework of 4 steps. I'll repeat that. It all starts with imagination. Your next startup is going to be whenever you grow up, whenever you want to start something, whenever you want to make a change. The first step is imagination. If you can imagine it, you can do it. The next step is it scientifically possible? Then is it doable by using the given technology? And finally, can you make a business out of it? Can you actually take it to a large number of people? So how was that done?
So that was honestly very nice steps. I was actually writing it down.
Glad you.
So just to summarize, and just for everyone's reference, the 4 stages are basically: first, you need to imagine, because it always starts from imagination. Just because you imagine, that's when you get the idea and that's when you work upon it. So first step is imagination. Second is the scientific problem. The third one is
Engineering problem.
engineering.
Can you make?
Yes. So third one is the engineering problem, and the last one is
Business problem.
business.
Okay, let's use this one. So you like Pani Patasha?
Yes, of course.
So let's say that can we start a chart shop? That's imagination. That the first step is that can I start a chart shop? I'll create a chart shop which is very nice, will serve very nice chart. Now the scientific problem is that can I make golgappas? Can I make the pani for the pani puris or golgappas? Can I boil potatoes and get them? Can I get the masalas that that's the scientific thing. Can I get the right flavors? Then the engineering problem is actually making it. Yes. Frying the golgappas, readying the water, adding the chutney, all those things is the engineering problem. Once I have all of it ready, then it becomes a business problem. That now I need to get customers. Yeah. Can I get a supply of customers, walking customers coming to me, that the number that I make is actually the number that I sell every day? That's when I'll start making money. So whatever you do, whether you run a paratha store, whether you want to make very nice sandals and shoes for people, or clothes, or an application like Zoom, the one that we are using, anything, the 4 steps remain the same.
Yes, of course. Totally agree. And I also got to learn something, the 4 steps of how a business model has to work.
Glad you liked it. Yeah. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
So what we do is initially we interact, and then at the end we ask the audience to write down their questions, and then we can go forward with that. So till then, so if you could, sir, tell more about, now that we've known about your previous company, about how have you like taken the venture, and how did it, didn't work out that well, but then you weren't demotivated with that. You got an idea to, start Unlearn.Cool. So if you could tell more about what exactly does Unlearn.Cool does. So what is
Okay.
the about?
So Unlearn was born out of a need again. The another thing that I say, imagination comes from need. How do you imagine things? It's been feeling extremely hot. You say, "Arey yaar, is there some way I can turn this cold? Is there some way I can create snow? Is there some way I can make breeze? Is there some way I can have a lot of trees, shade?" And that's how it starts. Imagination always starts because of a need. Sometimes when you're sitting alone and missing a friend, you say, "Is there some way that I can fly and reach my friend? Can I actually get into a call and see them?" That's how it started. So similarly, Unlearn came out of a need that when I look back at my own journey, I realized that when I was going through the time after coming out of my college, or just coming out of my college and in the professional journey, I did not have a lot of help. I did not have a lot of people who could guide me. It was all friends, and friends were my age. Friends were the same set of people, who were struggling the way I was struggling. So I said that what if I start something which will help people take and make brave decisions? And why the name Unlearn? Because I also realized that everything that we study in school and college is very useful, but we don't know how to use it. So all those things that you've studied in class 5th, 6th, 7th, they'll be put to use when you go to work, but you would not know when many times. So the idea is to unlearn a lot of what you've learned and then put it to use, learn how to use it. It's not just about writing answers. It's not just about taking tests. No, because our education has prepared us for that. That when we are in college, when we are in school, we just learn, we understand, and we kind of reproduce it in a notebook and say that, okay, I've scored my 90%, 95%. But we need to unlearn that and come and start using those things at work. So this was the reason for Unlearn. And so what I do at Unlearn is I engage with youngsters. I engage with people who are starting their career. I engage with people who are in college, completing their second year, third year. And I help them discover what they want to do in life. Because there's so many options. So it's like going to a wedding, going to a large buffet and saying, what do I eat? So should I eat the naan, dal, paneer, and paneer tikka, or should I go to the tandoori counter and have food there? Should I go to the chaat counter and have food there? Dhwani is saying a lot of food is being discussed.
So I love to listen about food.
I know. So am I. So, this is what happens when we go to a large wedding, which is a very, very nice, elaborate wedding. We have so many things displayed there. There's somebody moving around with sweets, and there's a counter for desserts, and there's a fruit chart, and there is a salad, and so many things. Now, the challenge is that we only have such a small tummy. What do we eat? So, this is exactly what Unlearn does. Unlearn helps people discover that what do they want to do in life. Because there's so many things they can do. They can become a rocket scientist, they can become a doctor, they can become, a business person, they can become a stylist, they can do fashion designing, they can do graphic designing, they can become a banker. And there's so many things, and there's so many courses to pursue. And the problem is that the moment you decide that I want to have paneer tikka, you have to let go of everything else. So the problem is not that you want to have paneer tikka. The courage is required to let go of everything else. That when I decide to have paneer tikka, I know that I will not be having golgappa. I will not be having the chaat. I will not be having the dal. I will not be having, the pulao and so many other things. That is what I help people with. To letting go of something that they don't want to.
So just to, summarize, like Unlearn.Cool, it helps students to, get into a right direction with respect to their career. Because I think having that thing, helping especially college students, because let me tell you that when I was in college last year, like I graduated last year, and even I was, very confused, like what should I do and what should I go. Like I didn't want to do any MBA or something. So if I would have known that there is something like this, and I would have definitely approached you. So that's when I also started introspecting myself, and I chose an option to become a soft skills trainer. So yeah, that's something very important, having a mentor and having someone to guide you in the right direction with respect to your career. I think that's absolutely commendable, and that's actually in the need. People do require that. So which brings me to my next question is, how has your journey been so far in like your entrepreneurial journey, in whether in your previous company or in Unlearn.Cool? So how has your journey been?
So it's been fun, I would say. It's been a roller coaster ride. So an entrepreneur's journey is okay. So if I was to differentiate, and because we are using the word journey, when you do a job, your journey is like boarding a train. You board a train, and the train takes you from one place to another. There's a lot of things keep happening in the train, and you keep doing them. You have food, you read a magazine, you talk to people, you keep doing things that you're supposed to do in the train, and it takes you from point A to point B. But an entrepreneur's journey is like playing badminton. So every morning you wake up, you start with a score 0, and you play a game, you end the day. Next morning you again start, and again your score is 0. It's like cricket. Every inning that you play, when you go to the match, your score is 0. You don't say that I have scored because I scored 50 yesterday, my score will start from 51. So that's the difference between an entrepreneur and somebody who's in a job. Both are fun, both are equally good. There's fun in being in a job, and there's fun in being an entrepreneur. But it's a little more challenging, I would say, being an entrepreneur, because you have to do new stuff every day. So it's been fun in that sense. There's a lot of learning I've had. I get to interact with lovely people like you.
Thank you. So that's absolutely true. Like, every day is a new day, and you have to, have that motivation to start the day. If you are motivated, I think your teammates and everybody around you is motivated. So being an entrepreneur, that is one thing I think we all must possess, and that's extremely important, sir. So which brings me to my next question is, what are the lessons that you would tell us that, we all have our ups and downs. Now, how do you overcome it? And what are the lessons that you have learned so far as an entrepreneur?
Same. What a schooling and college does is that it doesn't really teach us to fail, because you score good in 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and so on. You keep scoring good, and life just goes on. And everybody looks at, that you scored 85, 87, 90, 92, 95, and so on and so forth. But when you start working, when you actually start doing things, if you go to the market, you'll see so many shops out there that they're open, but there are no customers there. They don't earn the same amount of money every day. There's this chartwala who opens the shop, and some days nobody comes to them. And some days there is a long queue. Within a day also, evenings there's a large crowd, but morning to evening there's nobody who comes. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, who has chart? But the person still opens the store and keeps there. This is something that I learned during my entrepreneurial journey. I learned that this is more like sports. This is more like, playing cricket, playing badminton, playing table tennis, playing soccer, that every match, every day is a new match. You start from 0. And just because you had 50 customers yesterday does not mean that you will have 50 customers today. You need to find 50 new customers today. So that thing is something that I learned. And can every day be a good day? No, it can't be. You can't score a 50 every day in cricket. Some days you get out on the first ball, you come back and sit and just watch because others will play. Some days you score 2, some days you score 20, some days you score 100, and so on. That's a big learning. So I took my learning from sports, and I realized that this learning is actually helping me lead my life into this journey.
Okay, that's a nice, connecting yourself and, your entrepreneurial journey to sports. You can actually understand things better. and anything you connect, whatever you feel that you want to connect, so that you can also move on and you can feel that, no, I think that's the reason, things are going. So sir, due to like, last year, due to pandemic and everything, I'm like, all the businesses were very topsy turvy and there were a lot of ups and downs. Now, how did you cope up with that? How did you cope up with the pandemic? Like, how, what were your challenges at that point?
Again, let's go back to sports. So your vacation starts, and Dashera vacation, and you say that let's go and play. There are a lot of a lot of badminton, a lot of cricket, whatever your favorite sport is, a lot of soccer, and you step out to realize that it starts to rain. You can't go out and play. Now, what do children do? They are clever. They say let's find a place in shade within the home. So when I was young, I have played cricket in the garage. I have played cricket in the veranda. I have played cricket even in the room. Even so a large bat could not be used, a proper bat. So I would actually come down to a small stick. Sometimes my TT bat would become a cricket bat, and a TT ball would become. So we would innovate. We would get creative. That how can I use the given space to play the sport that I want to play? This is exactly what pandemic did. When the world stopped, when we were restricted from going out, when we could not do so many things, when the shops were closed, business went on as usual. People discovered newer ways of doing it. People found out that they could use Zoom. People found out that they could do a lot of work on telephone. People found out that they could do meetings, virtually. They found out that they could actually travel virtually. I don't have to go to Bangalore for a meeting earlier the way I used to go. I could get on a call and do a meeting there. If I wanted to see something or show something, I could use WhatsApp to send pictures and multiple pictures of a particular thing and say that, okay, this is how it is. I could write about it. So people got creative. This is something that we as humanity have discovered, that even if the world stops, there are newer ways that come out of moving forward. And this will always happen. So when something gets flooded, when there's a natural calamity of some kind, it does impact, it does cause a problem, but then we find newer ways of doing things. So always be hopeful. Always remember this, that you just have to look around. You just have to imagine that how can I do this? And then you will be able to do it.
Absolutely, sir. I think hope is something we need to, keep in ourselves and make the right decision at the right time. So yeah. So that was all from my side, and let me open the platform and let our participants ask you questions. So what I'm going to do is, you all can write down your questions in the chat box, or there is something called as reactions. You all can raise your hand, and then I can unmute you all, and then one by one we can, speak upon it. So yeah, start writing your questions in the chat box, or just raise your hand so that I'll ask to unmute you, and then you can directly talk to our guest, Mr. Dushyant. Anybody has any questions, then please go forward with it.
Questions are always the scariest part, right from the time of exam.
Absolutely, sir. Anybody? You can raise your hand, and you can type out your question.
So Dhwani, nobody asking a question tells me two things. Either the talk was very explanatory and people have understood everything, or there was nothing that was understood, and that's very scary.
So I'm sure people must have understood everything because you were very clear, crystal clear. So I think people don't have that many questions. I think we should wait for some time. Till then, let me ask you more questions. Until
Sure.
so, sir, if you had to give one tip to everybody or anything, so what would it be? Like any tip which you want to share?
So the only tip that I share with students is try. Always imagine that you are in that lovely wedding which has 100 counters of food out there in a large lawn, a very lavish, wedding. Try everything. Don't just go and start eating the first thing that you see. Take a look around, walk to every counter, see what do you like, taste a little bit from things that you like, taste a little bit of chaat, taste a little bit of fruit salad, taste a little bit of rasmalai, taste a little bit of, don't have whole, taste, try, because it is your age. If you don't try in the early years, if you don't try new things, if you don't discover new things, then how will you decide that what do you want to do? So every time I meet somebody who's starting there, who's in, I would say less than 23, 24, 25 years of age, this is the only recommendation that I give, the try.
Absolutely, sir. We all have to, our life is like a roller coaster ride, and you have to try out everything. Like, there was one quote from Ratan Tata where he said that, life, there you should have ups and downs in life, because if there is a straight line, even the ECG machine shows that you're not alive. So yeah. So we have one question from Shrishti, that is it necessary to have a mentor in life?
So, okay. Necessary is a very strong word, I would say. It's good to have a mentor, and not one mentor. A mentor is somebody who's walked that path before you. Yeah. So it's like if you want to go to a park which is open new, if you want to go to a circus which has come to your town, if you want to see a movie which has come released new, then what do? You ask somebody, you ask a friend that, hey, have you watched this movie? There's every Squid Games chal raha hai. There's this, very popular series running on Netflix, Squid Games. So if I want to watch Squid Games, I want to evaluate, what will I do? I'll ask Dhwani, hey Dhwani, have you watched Squid Games?
Yes.
Do you recommend it? Do you
Yes.
think I should watch it? No. Then I'll ask, why do you recommend it? Is it fast? Does it have suspense? Is it a very gripping story? I'll ask these questions. And then you will tell me that, yes, this is why you should watch it. The cinematography is very good. The visualization is very good. The story is very gripping. You will love watching it. Yeah. So once I know this, then I can decide that do I want to do it. I may not watch even after that. This is exactly what a mentor does. A mentor is somebody who lets you see beyond what you can see. So it's like standing outside the circus and asking someone who's coming out of the circus and asking, how's the circus? Did it have trapeze? Did it have jokers? Did it have, dogs performing some acts? Did it have, how long was it? So this is what a mentor can do for you. A mentor can help you imagine things, help you, find out what you're signing up for.
But what if you don't have anyone to support behind?
See, a mentor does not mean that it's a formal relationship in that sense. You can ask anyone. You can ask somebody who has done that before you. Now, you can have multiple people you seek support from. So if you decide to go to Kolkata, for example, to travel, then you ask somebody who's been to Kolkata that how's the city? What should I see there? What are the must-see places? What should I buy there? What are the places I should go to eat? What is the must-have food? Should I have rasgulla? What place should I go for rasgulla? That's what a mentor does. Because a mentor is somebody who's been to Kolkata multiple times. And they can tell you that these are the things you should do. So it's always good if you can ask people.
Okay, and sir, I had one more question in my mind, that how to overcome your laziness. Like we have something, like if I think to start up a business, okay, I have idea, I have everything, I have facilities, but there is one laziness in mind that, oh no, you cannot do this, no, that won't feel so right in your mind.
That's a tricky one. So, Srishti, what's your favorite game? What do you play?
So just a moment, I'll unmute her.
What's your favorite game?
Cricket, football.
Lovely. So, are there days when you don't feel like playing cricket? Are there days when you don't feel like playing football? Are there days when you just say that I don't want to go out to play? Does it happen or not? It happens now. So that's that's what laziness is. So we cannot be motivated to be doing a certain thing again and again on a regular basis. Now, so just the way some days you don't feel like having food, some days you don't feel like watching TV, some days you don't feel like studying, some days you don't feel like playing cricket, even if it's your favorite sport. Now, some days you don't even feel like watching a cartoon, even if you like it. Now, that's there. But your ability to pull yourself to do it because you really want it is what motivates you. Now, a good example is that when you cook food or so you're too young to be cooking right now, but imagine when mama cooks food at home. Cooking food is not fun, but eating good food is fun. Because Dhwani is now smiling. So why you cook food is not because you enjoy cooking food. You cook food because you love having good food. So going to Kolkata may not be the best, or going to Delhi may not be the most funny thing, the most enjoyable thing. But being in Delhi and seeing new places will be the enjoyable thing. So we should focus on the result. Once you start focusing on the result, then you will start doing it. That takes away the battle with the laziness.
Yes, sir. Yes. And sir, one more question that I want to, like start up a business or something like that. I wanna, give some auditions to be a celebrity in order to be a celebrity. But my mom says that just enjoy your life till +2 class. There is everything you can do after it. But sir, it is the right thing to pause like right now.
Okay, so there are two questions in this. The first one, so trying to be a celebrity is, it's I still want to be one. So we don't become celebrity or we don't become known by wanting to be known. We become known by doing something which people want to see. Understand this. So the hard work that we put in doing something makes us a celebrity. We don't become a celebrity, we don't be known. So if somebody scores 90%, then they are known in the school because they put in the hard work in scoring 90%. And it's the outcome that people like. So remember this. So you don't become a celebrity by wanting to be a celebrity. You become a celebrity by doing hard work, by doing something really well. So well that nobody else can do that well. That's one. The second thing, that do I pause all these things? My parents also used to tell me, after your 11th, after your 12th, you can do all this. After your college, you can do all this. Wait for some time. You don't have, the world will not stop. No, I could not understand it then, but now I do. आपने गुलेल देखी है, कैटरपिलर जिसे बोलते हैं, जिसमें एक वो कंचा लगा के पीछे खींचते हैं, उसको छोड़ते हैं. Srishti, have you seen that? Have you seen a bow and arrow?
Yes. Sure.
So you are right now in a stage where you are being pulled back. आप जब अपना कॉलेज खत्म कर लेंगी और आप जब छोड़ेंगी उसको, you fly. So don't feel bad if you're going back right now, because the effort that you put in going back will ensure that you go farther. So right now, if your parents are telling you that work hard, focus on what you're doing, complete your 12th, and so on and so forth, they're doing the right thing. So you're pulling yourself back. The harder you pull back, the farther you will go. Does that answer?
Thank you, sir.
I'm happy that I could answer you.
Yes. Anybody else has any question? We can take one more question. No? Okay, then, sir, one last question from my end, that when I was researching about you, when I saw that, you are helping a young girl who's in the age of 14 for her startup. So could you tell a bit more about that? Like,
so that's okay. So that's my younger daughter, Dhwani. She started this initiative when she was 11 years old.
Wow.
So now she is 14, and it's been more than 2 years that she's been running this. The first 6 months went in filing and registering it. It all happened because she again had an imagination. She imagined something, and I encouraged her to write a letter. She wrote a letter, and you can Google that. Just Google Mahika honking letter. So I can type it here. So if you Google that Mahika honking letter, you'll find out the letter that she wrote. This letter broke the internet, and she discovered that what a letter can do. And that's when she decided to start an initiative called Letters for Change. It's a completely student-run initiative. It's all students. The youngest student is 12 years old, and the oldest is about 22, 23. Somebody studying, doing their MBA. All college students, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds. These students run the initiative. It's a registered organization, and they're doing some amazing work. They're also learning how to run an organization. So they raise funds, they do the marketing, they reach out to people, they do everything. They do the website, everything is done by them.
That's lovely, sir.
I just guide them. I just, as somebody was saying, I just mentor them. I just guide them. I'm available to help them, but they do it completely on their own.
That's amazing, sir. So we've come to the end of the session. Since there are no more questions, I would like to end the session. Thank you so much, sir, for all those ideas and the 4 steps which you mentioned earlier. If I may recall, that is, first step is imagination, then is scientific discovery, then the third is engineering, and the fourth is business planning. Yes, I've learned that.
You're a clever.
Thank you so much, everybody, and thank you so much, sir, for coming and talking to all these young students today, because they are our future entrepreneurs, and they are all participating in the Youth Idadon Festival. So they all need that kind of encouragement and motivation, and you've just done justice to them. Thank you so much for taking out your time and all your efforts and coming to this session. We would love to hear from you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Dhwani. It was an absolute pleasure interacting with you and everybody else. I hope this talk helps people, youngsters, all the students do better in their lives, and they go on to imagine something which helps humanity become a better race, the world become a better place. So start with imagination.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you so much. See you, sir. Bye.